What'd you do to the little boy, Ed?
Huh?
What'd you do to him? I told you guys Edward hates kids.
Yeah.
He can't stand them.
Nope.
We're always live. Edward's probably the one who cut his freaking tongue out.
Want a piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
I am.
Happy Monday, moviegoers. Welcome to episode 332. Welcome to Speak No Evil. You're listening to a brand new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Juan, and I am joined by the cast, the crew, the fellas.
How's it going, guys?
What's up?
How have you guys been doing? Good week?
It's been all right. You know,
Been good.
it's been cold.
It has been cold, but you know what? With the month of January, that usually is what happens. So
Did y'all survive the TikTok ban?
I don't even have TikTok.
I don't have a TikTok, man. I used to, but we yeah. What about you? Did you survive?
Man, that thing came back quicker than the Supernatural brothers.
Came back pretty quick.
Freaking SpongeBob spent more time in jail than that thing did.
But yeah, good week, good Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day out there to everybody here in the United States. Happy National Championship Monday to all you college football fans out there. It's a fun Monday, man. A lot of stuff going on, but one thing that never fails is another new episode from your boys, the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. If you guys are watching us live on Facebook, Emisawal Productions YouTube channel, or you guys are probably listening to this where a majority of our audience is from, out there in social media and podcast land.
Sir.
All the social medias are right there. Ed, how do they find all of our episode links, and where do they find the social media?
Very, very easily. That is facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. That is TheCinemenMoviepodcast. Instagram at the same, the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. X is at Cinemen405, and email is of course at cinemen921@gmail.com. Go ahead and leave us a comment, or any suggestions are cool too. We love those. So, or a comment about any of us, we'll take that in stride too.
Compliment about us, compliment about the show, but your look back and your social media plug is sponsored by San Marcos Mexican Restaurants, located right here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, at 2301 Southwest 59th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Give them a call and get a to-go order, 405-685-7773, or go ahead and dine in at the best possible Mexican restaurant in the metro. Let them know that the Cine-Men Movie Podcast sent you and get you 10% off your entire purchase. And go ahead and go in there and get you some $5 margaritas on Wednesdays. Great food and even better customer service. So, again, let them know that the Cine-Men Movie Podcast sent you. San Marcos Mexican Restaurants, the best sit-down restaurant of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Guys, let's get into some recent watches. It's been a minute since we've talked. It's been a week. A week is too long to talk to you guys. So, Ed, we'll start with you. Do you have anything you've been recently watching or that you want to recommend?
So recently, gone ahead and watched Order of the Phoenix, Half Blood Prince, as well as and you're probably gonna think I'm dumb for this, but I watched like Date Movie and Epic Movie and Meet the Spartans and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so those have kind of it's nostalgic to a small degree, but at the same time they lose a lot of their comedic talent, I guess, after a while.
Dude, sometimes I'm in the mood to just watch complete trash too.
Yeah,
Like sometimes I'm like, man, and you know
you
what?
you be watching your neighbors too much.
I mean, not neighbors, but like, man, I've been in the mood sometimes to watch like just some comedies that I thought were funny. Like a few months ago, I was watching some Adam Sandler movies, and I'm like, man, these are not funny anymore at all. Like, what happened here? But
Maybe what happened to you, my guy?
I know.
What?
But
I'm
what
so
about that?
cynical in our old age.
Because me and Jay talked about that when we did some of the Clerks reviews. Um, you joined some of them, but Ed, we talked about that with Scary Movie. So since you watched some of those comedies recently, like, did you sit there and laugh like you thought you would, or were you still like, it's not as funny as I thought it was going to be?
A bit of both. A bit of both. Kind of like I said, some of it was nostalgia. Uh, something was big at that point in time, or something was going on in that point in time that was enough to reach those waves. And then all of a sudden, now it either seems childish or kind of stupid, to where some of it did actually, make you laugh or make you kind of go, man, that was pretty good. Okay, that's where I know exactly where this came from, kind of thing. But lost its touch to a degree, to a pretty good degree, honestly. Like, none of those movies would really equal 3 out of 5 or anything like that. But yeah, lost some touch. But it happens.
So is there anything you want to recommend, or were you just kind of like, I wouldn't recommend any of this anymore?
Well, I mean, Order of the Phoenix and Half Blood Prince, of course, but I mean that's I'm a huge part of that fandom, so there is that. But yeah, other than that, I ain't been doing too much. Been trying to study for a few things, so yeah.
Nice. Jay, what about you, man? You check anything out recently that you want to recommend?
I recently checked out the new Halloween trilogy. It started off good, but ended pretty badly. I thought the third one was pretty shit. The whole storyline behind the killer, the guy with the bad, that killed the kid and everything. I thought that whole storyline was dumb. Was not needed. So I watched some documentaries that are on YouTube about different movies. Some with the Lord of the Rings. I started watching The War for Boromir and Rohirrim, and I got bored by that movie. I even started Red One and got halfway into that movie and got bored with it and shut it off. So that's two movies of 2024 that I started up that I got bored with halfway through. That I just did. Red One was just horrible anyways, and so I got through those. I watched a 4.5 hour documentary on the making of the Rob Zombie Halloween. I finished Creature Commandos. I highly recommend that if anybody's never seen it. It's a part of the new BCU's lineup, and it's pretty good. And I watched some Royal Rumbles to get me ready for the Royal Rumble coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah,
You guys excited for the Royal Rumble?
oh yeah.
I am.
I know we still got a little bit to go. Does anybody have any predictions on who might win?
I think the people might have a champion in the midst.
I'll go with Cena probably winning it.
I don't know, man. I feel like that would cheap it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that would cheapen his legacy and cheapen that position too. To to where, like, for the past year plus, we were supposed to get a main event last year. It ended up changing due to a big part of what the people wanted. But I think things are starting to go a little bit different this year, and I think that will be the main event of this WrestleMania, for that matter.
You talking about The Rock and Roman Reigns?
Mm-hmm.
You guys can disagree with me, but I think if that was going to be the main event, they would have already announced it by now.
I agree.
I think they would have. I think they need at least 6 months or a year build for those two, just like they did Rock Cena. Like, that's too big of a pay-per-view match to just throw down with 90 days to go.
It could be done in 90 days, but
It can, but I think the build-up would be so much bigger than what it has. And I think if you would have started that rivalry or that match, it would have been when The Rock gave Roman the Uafala. It would have happened that night.
Because, I mean, I'll tell you, I just don't think Cena at this point in his career needs that. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, Juan, you know, I used to be a huge, and I mean, I'm not a fan of Cena, but I used to be a huge Cena fan back in the day. But I just don't think he deserves that position. Not the WrestleMania main event match. He deserves not an undercard, like he deserves a mid card match. I don't think he should come out first and just get squashed by.
I mean, this is his
Austin Theory.
This is his retirement year. If any years to be for him to just go over on everybody, I think this would be the year that he should get it. But I don't know. I don't know. There's so many different ways and so many different matches they could give us for a main event. But I think the true main event this year is going to be CM Punk and Roman Reigns for no championship.
Okay.
That's just where everything is lining up to be, at least in my eyes. I don't know. I think the 2 world championships will probably be maybe side matches, maybe no main events. I'm not sure. Anything could change. But
we got 2 nights. So.
I agree on the side matches. I agree on that because I don't think I think Cody's losing not the belt, but I think he's losing his steam. I don't think Gunther is going to have the belt very much longer. I out of all the champions currently, I would probably say I see Rhea having 100% having the belt at WrestleMania. Cody, like 98%. I don't think Gunther's going to, and I don't think
if Cena takes
Tiffany
the belt,
is either.
if Cena takes the belt off anybody, I think it might be Gunther.
Fair, true.
I don't know. Jay, what about you? You got any WrestleMania comments?
I could see the Cena Gunther match happening. I don't know. I'm just gonna let it play out. It's predictable when it needs to be, and right now it's not predictable, so that's a good thing. Because usually going into Royal Rumbles, you're like, this person's gonna win it. We could pretty much sit there and look at who's in the Rumble and be like, all right, that's who's gonna win it. And just so far, who's been announced with in the men's Royal Rumble, the women I think is gonna be on first this year.
Yeah,
because it doesn't feel like there's that much build-up for it. But for the men's side, you got Roman Reigns already, CM Punk, John Cena. You know, you got all those 3 big names are automatically in that match, and they can go to any one of those 3.
we're getting some emails about where has the sports podcast been. Believe me, guys, we'll get something together, even if it's a weekly wrestling talk. We'll get something together, and I think this is a good little conversation that we continue maybe over on that side of things. It was a slow week maybe for me, but after the Lincoln Lawyer last week, I checked out the Jerry Springer documentary on Netflix, Fights, Camera, Action.
Yeah.
Very good little documentary. It's only an hour per episode, and it's only 2 episodes. So you're in and you're out. But it's very, very informative. And I enjoyed it, especially living up and growing in that era of Jerry Springer. I didn't know that much went on, and I didn't know, that much of a ratings issue between the two, between him and Oprah, was that big. So if I were you guys, if you're a 90s fan in general, I would go check it out. especially if you enjoyed that Nickelodeon documentary over on Max. Um, I watched Venom: The Last Dance for the first time. Not a bad little action flick, man. I kind of enjoyed it. To me, it was the better of. It was probably the second best of the three. I'd probably say the first one is still probably the best, but I thought The Last Dance was, right behind it. Um, and then I checked out Speak No Evil for today's episode. So, like I said, been kind of a slow week for me. So, but there's a lot I want to get to for sure. So, um, yeah.
The
So,
one and only.
but yeah, another, and Ed will like talking about these guys because of all the real cane sugar that's in there. Um, so our next little conversation will be sponsored by OKC Soda Company. Ed, you want to talk to us about OKC Soda?
Oh yeah, of course. OKC Soda. They basically have. Oh my god, they're a craft soda company of Oklahoma. They have super unique flavors. Strawberry shortcake, blueberry acai are just to name a few. You've got root beer, orange cream soda, cherry limeade right there on screen, and they are made with pure cane sugar, kind of like what you're saying. And then not only that, but they are natural flavors. This is not just your typical soda. This is a soda that takes pride in itself. It does offer other uh, types of soda for that matter, for all of you connoisseurs out there. So this brand we can't talk highly enough. Myself and Juan have actually been to the brewing spot for these guys. It is, man, it's set up. That's all I know what to say. It's set up. It looks awesome back there.
And go check them out at your local grocers, at your local Homeland stores, and Crest Foods right here in Oklahoma City. So let's get ready and dig into today's episode if you guys want. Should be a little fun conversation.
Yes, sir.
So what did you guys think initially about the talk about today's episode? I know we were supposed to talk Billy Madison, but
It goes back to that things not being funny anymore. On probably that, doesn't it?
yeah, it
Billy
kind of honestly,
Madison is not as funny as it used to be.
it kind of did, and I didn't even watch Billy Madison recently. I just was sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, man, I don't know, and I really wanted to talk about it too because it turns 30 this year, but it was different. I don't know, but hopefully this conversation will be as different as we thought it would be. But today we're talking all about Speak No Evil. It had a release date of September 13th of 2024. With a $15 million budget, it grossed a little over $78 million at the box office, with an IMDb rating of 6.8 out of 10, 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, 66% on the Metascore, and a 3.3 out of 5 on the Letterboxd. Starring James McAvoy and Mackenzie Davis, Scoot McNairy, Dan Howe, and directed by James Watkins. A family is invited to spend a whole weekend in a lonely home in the countryside, but as the weekend progresses, they realize that the dark side lies within the family of who invited them. Ed, we'll start with you. First time versus now, or was this the first time you watched it for the episode?
First time and all that good stuff. To be honest, I thought we were doing the Kane movie from like 06 or something like that. I did not know about this nor its 2022 predecessor at all. So there's that. And then whenever I started searching it up and seeing what it was and all that to kind of understand what to expect, I seen that it was the movie with the boy who got his tongue cut out and stuff like that. So I understood more about it going in. Like I said, I didn't know much about it at all until that. So
That would be See No Evil. You didn't watch See No Evil, did you?
No,
Okay.
no. But that's what I thought of whenever you whenever I seen just Speak No Evil instead of poster or something like that. I thought of that
Okay.
movie automatically.
Um, so I got to see this in the theater last year. I think opening weekend. I had seen so many trailers for it, and I was like, not that bad. So I want to go check it out, and because the opening trailer reminded me of um, James McVoy's character in Split.
So
Um,
I'm not the only one.
so the trailer drove me into it. So I saw it opening weekend. First time watch, I thought it was absolutely different and stunning. I did not see the 2000. Was it 2002? You said
2022,
I did not see the
just 2 years
2022.
before.
I didn't see that version of it. Um, so I thought the movie was pretty good. I have different opinions this time around, seeing it, knowing all this spins and cycles of it, but I still kind of enjoyed it. Jay, what about you? First time?
This is my first time. It was I was all right with it. It was kind of mid, if you ask me. I'm the type of person some of the stuff that came across in the script and everything on how Homeboy was treating him and everything like that. I guess I'm just the type of person that I'd have just been out of there a long time before them. I don't even think I would have sat there and called him up and hung out with them after we got back. I really don't because you know I have a trust issue with people, and this is probably why. They're fucking psychotic murderers that take over your lives and shit like that. But I was just, I was with the movie. I'll discuss it more as we go along, but it was just mid to me.
So let's talk about them though. So if you guys have not seen this movie, it is what, a little over 4 months old. It's on Peacock if you want to stream it. You can go pick up the physical media copy, $20 if you're into that kind of stuff. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about how these people get trapped in this movie. And I thought the cast first off was a pretty okay cast, led by James McAvoy. I thought he was by far head and heels over everybody. Um,
I'll agree with you there.
I thought Mackenzie Davis was a close second, but he was, when I say close, that's being probably a little generous. But she was definitely probably the second best. Um, I would almost put Dan Hoy, who played Ant, behind James McAvoy, because
He had
man,
to
for him,
act without talking.
yeah, he couldn't speak. He had to give all the facial expressions and the weird moans and yelps. So highly recommend it. At least to go back. If not anything, if the movie and the script is just in with you, I would say go check it out on Peacock just for James Mc. I don't know why I have a hard time with his name,
Michael Boyd.
McAvoy. So yeah,
Well, the
and
reason why
go ahead.
the reason why I had such kind of issues with it, like I said, I have trust issues with people. So just the way that he's kind of strong arming them to do things, like he makes her eat meat and shit like that. Like I would have been like, no. What part of it's like they were too pushy. I'd have just been like, no.
So what I like about that part of the script and story, and if you guys want to talk about it, you can just interrupt me. But watching it the second time, what I liked most about it was the main character, Patty, and his wife, uh, Sierra. I like how vulnerable, and I know this is probably backstory of them just picking vulnerable couples. It's almost like they did their homework before everything maybe started. They know they were probably going through marriage issues, trust issues. Maybe I'm looking too deep into the story, but I feel like that's why they probably picked that specific couple, because they were so vulnerable and they were so pushy. Scoot McNairy, who his character really irritated this movie because he was so pushy, but Ben at the end of the day is just he looks like he'll do anything to just get, sexy looks from his wife because of their whole trust issues. Because backstory on the wife, Louise, is cheating or sexting with their kids, like a dad from her high school, middle school, or something like that. So I don't know. I agree with you. I don't like how that couple was super pushy, and they probably would have done almost any and everything that couple would have asked. But I feel like that's maybe like them being so vulnerable. But they're so vulnerable in the movie, like it does kind of irritate you.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, like I agree with Jay on a lot of different things. Like at the end all be all, like I know the joke is that like kids, I hate kids or something like that, but that time, especially the dancing, that he gone ahead and just, dude,
Oh yeah,
takes
speak
that
about
kid and just,
talk about that
oh my
scene.
god, that pissed me off right there, man. That because it was the Cotton Eye Joe, and like just a small dance routine. It's not like they're professional dancers. It's not like this is what they get paid for. This is what they've trained for 13 years out of 15 of their life and all that stuff. But like you I don't know, man. That pissed me off right there.
To me, there was just too many red flags to just be still hanging out together. If
Yeah.
somebody displayed that many red flags to me while I'm hanging out with them and we're just together a couple days, I'm out of there, man. I'm not bullshitting. I'm out.
I mean, the daughter being in their bed, like Agnes being in Patty and Sierra's bed, no.
You
You're
could
not
even
their aunt and uncle. You're not even a cousin or something like that. You're not my brother. No.
you could even look at the scene before they even go to their house when they were still was it in Paris or where were they at the first time they met? The
Italy.
first the first time they met, they were like wanting Agnes to get on the motorcycle,
The moped, yeah.
the
Yeah.
moped, and they're like, no, it's not safe, and he was just like, no, I insist. Like that's your first sign of hey,
Well, that right there is also the first um try of their willpower for that matter. Because he's seen how easily they were just like, whatever, okay, fine, kind of thing. No, especially a grown ass man straddling my dog. No, 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 no. Like,
Well, I think on another hand, it plays into how far are we as a society or as a person able to go to appease somebody else.
yeah, and I mean that's the thing right there. Like, I will go ahead and be friendly and stuff like that, but I'm highly protective of children in my family for that matter. And I mean, they probably won't ever see this, but there was a younger cousin of mine that just had a scrape with a very fortunate scrape with a potential that could have been a hell of a lot worse at a club. Luckily, she's not of age to drink yet, so there's that. But she was able to get in and dance and hang out and stuff like that. But she had a scrape with someone that, yeah, kind of crazy. So
Would have likely done her harm.
very much so, man. Kind of did to a small degree, but luckily she was there with some friends that were highly responsive and highly they were oh my gosh, I'm trying to look for the word. They were aware of their surroundings predominantly. A little naive, bit naive, but as far as teenagers go, not too shabby.
and I like how this movie really does, like so many horror movies, and especially Blumhouse lately. I know a lot of people trash on Blumhouse as of like the past few years because it almost seems like everything they've put out since Halloween ends has been kind of bad. Whether it be like Imaginary or Imagine with the teddy bear movie, Megan. This is actually, I feel like, one of the most decent movies they've put out recently.
Megan
Um,
wasn't bad.
uh, so I feel like, this maybe gives some light on Blumhouse as of late, but I feel like anything you do, um, again, this is me just giving some more flowers to James McAvoy. He has just been spot on as of late, and this movie makes no is no different. Um, Usually they can do some kind of different. The kids in certain movies can be kind of annoying, or they're not living up to par with some of the other actors. But I thought the two kids in this movie were pretty decent.
I thought the girl was annoying.
The girl,
With the whole fucking bear. The bear is almost what got him fucking killed. Her little fucking stuffed animal. That's what almost got him killed.
Hoppy.
Hoppy.
Yeah, it's like I'd have just been like,
Hoppy.
you can just fucking. We're not going back. We're done. You should have fucking grabbed it when we left. I'd have been the asshole in that situation. I've been like,
Me
no,
too.
we're done. We're not going back to see those people. We'll just have them fucking mail it to us if they can mail it to us. If not, you lost them.
Mail it. Hell yeah.
You should be more responsible.
So yeah, so going back and rewatching it the second time, those are definitely some scenes that I'm like, okay, I see why they needed to be put in there to keep the family there, but I would have tried to write some other excuse to keep going back. Again, I know this movie is, from what you said, Ed, this is based off of a direct remake, right?
Yes, from 2 years prior.
Um,
Same name.
and
Yeah.
I feel like the actor who played, or Scoot McNairy who played uh, him in this movie, like I feel like that is maybe. What'd you guys think of him?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on to this picture for a second. You look at both of those boys right there. And I'm not trying to bash on Scoot or anything like that, but the difference of rage flowing through either of them, like, he's afraid of himself. He's afraid of what he's got. That's why he's got the eyes closed and all that, and he's going from this to an angle. James, on the other hand, or Patty in this, that's some serious rage right there. That's some predatorial rage. And that's one thing that James is amazing at. Like you mentioned earlier in Split, like I said, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought of that. But I mean, he's got the chest more out. He's got the neck thickly, just veins and thick neck, and just.
While you're talking about his thickness and veins, I was I was thinking, like, do you think they did that casting because of they needed somebody who was just probably so much more of a. I'm not want to say he looks weaker, but
pushover.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with you. He was a pushover. He was very weak. He's a weak-willed person. He just seemed like life had defeated him. So he was just like, what the fuck? He's just like, whatever. Because he's the one they have to convince at the end to get to leave. He's the one that they have to convince to leave. The little girl, the mom, they all want to fucking go because shit's not adding up. But he just wants us to continue staying. It's just like,
which, I mean,
I've been depressed and at the end of my rope where it's just like, I'm just like fed up with everything, and I'm just done with everything. But even I still had enough in my brain to see red flags. I was still aware enough to see red flags being, if I would have seen some of the shit that Homeboy was pulling off, I would have been like, no.
Do you think?
I don't know. Vibe. No, I'm good.
Do you think this goes back to? Remember the dinner scene where Patty takes him to like that guy's house and he cooks for him? Do you and they kind of were messing with Ben and Luis, like how they were kind of role playing sexually. You think Ben was so weak minded, physically, sexually, mentally, that he was like, maybe if I'm just in it with this dude, he'll let me chop a swap at his wife?
I didn't see that.
I'd say no, but I could understand where that comes from.
he was just so self. He was just not oozing anything at all, and it's like I don't know. This is probably looking at it too deep, but rewatching it today, I was just like, man, if they really wanted to put some kind of shocker in this movie, I feel like there was no deaths besides the two bad people or the three bad guys. That's again spoiler alert. But if they could have done this scene right here too, is where kind of you get the whole scene of uh, how really messed up this marriage is and how vulnerable they are, but how much of a pushover he is. This is the scene where you really kind of find out what goes on between the two married couples or between the married couple. But
yeah, and I mean,
I almost feel like the husband should have been the one casualty. What do you guys think?
It's possible. I'd agree there. He just seemed too. He was, like I said, I've been down and depressed. I've been at the deepest end of the pit. But even in my pit, I still recognize red flags, and I still recognize when people were doing shady shit to me. But he just seems so weaker than that. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know if that's his normal, way. It kind of seems that way because of the way the relationship is between the two of them. Is that he's just so weak and doesn't put any effort that there hasn't been effort on both of their parts for a while, it seems.
Yeah. And it made me feel like there's so many scenes where you're just like, come on, guys, get Agnes out of there. The scene where they just leave him with a random school teacher when they go out to that dinner. I'm like, really? You're just going to let her stay with a random guy? Like, how much of a pushover could Ben really be?
Ben, they both buckled.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, man, it's just a movie, but I'm like, yeah, I really wish Ben was the one casualty.
But I mean, at the same time, you got to put yourself in their shoes. I mean, that to let all those transgressions go. Not only that, but how they treated Ant and stuff like that. And I mean, on top of that, what kind of name is Ant? Like, okay, there's that, but I don't know, man.
They may not really know what his real name is because of the plot twist,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the plot twist was kind of dumb as well. I'm not even bullshit you. I thought it's like how many times can you play the same con? I get it can happen in real life and everything, but it just seemed too fantastical. I just couldn't accept it as reality as far as the movie goes.
And there's so many plot holes to where you're like, I don't know, they're probably put there actually, realistically by the writer, but Patty gives away so much small little details of he's going back on his lies that you're almost kind of like, is this how many times can he accidentally forget something to where you guys are all right, let's pack up and go. The doctor scene where he kind of forgot he was the doctor.
Yeah, I forgot that was his line, and he was like, "Oh, look at their faces!" Like,
so let's kind of explain it. We won't spend scene by scene, but like, let's kind of explain to everybody has not seen the movie yet, like, or who has seen it. They're pretty much their whole getup is they'll go vacation, they'll bring somebody, or they'll target a family, probably kill the mom and the dad, and then abduct and cut out the tongue of the kid, keep the kid, and then just recycle the process, and they just rob whatever couple they target pretty much for everything they got.
I was about to say, because didn't they have them transfer like $200,000 into their account?
Yeah.
But.
So yeah, the plot. I mean, the plot was a little. I think it would have been a little bit cooler or a little bit more slick if they were just doing it to do it. But in reality, technically, they're just a bunch of broke hippies who are targeting everybody they can for money, right?
That's what I assumed, and I did like the fact that they played up one time where the wife was a victim, but I would have liked to have seen her be more crazy. You know, he's crazy. She has to match his crazy.
I did like how whenever they kind of split and all the shit hits the fan and they have to go gather up everybody. I like how he kept being physical and was like, "This is your mess up. You got to go deal with this. Help me deal with this. This is your mess up." So yeah, I agree with you too, Jay. I like how he would have. He was insane, but it would have been pretty cool to see her match his craziness.
Because it just seems like they've been together so long. You know, what keeps her there, and what does she do? What's her role and everything? You know, and they never went into that.
That, and I mean, what broke her to go ahead and be like, "Yep, I can do this. I can keep doing this." You know, because
that's the thing that like puzzles the fuck out of me is like how in movies and even in real life, you know, can you get somebody to sit there and go along with something that's a bad idea? Like how in the fuck can you get somebody to go along with you on a whole? I'm gonna rob this guy. I'm gonna do this. You know, I'm gonna murder this person. I need you to help me. You know, it's like, do I not realize that none of that shit's gonna work? Is it just my way? Is it just my brain that thinks that way, or is it just like?
I think it's just what little morals we do have as a human being probably is like we know the difference between right and wrong so much that even if it's calculated mathematically to work 100%, we're still like no, because there's that one chance maybe that.
But you still get people that can be talked into stupid shit like that, you know. Because I've watched a lot of different crime documentaries, you know, and a lot of these people they get accomplices, and they don't sit there and say, well, he threatened me or they threatened me, whatever, with death and everything like that. They were just like, he asked me to kill somebody with him. I was like, yeah, I got nothing going on Saturday night. Let's fucking do it. You know, it's like, no, it's not all right.
like it's not that easy, dude. Like there's a lot to that shit.
But it comes across as that a lot of people are so weak-willed that, you know, hey man, we're going to do a drive-by. I need you to come along and shoot with me. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna be your boy, but I ain't gonna fucking go to jail for you. I ain't stupid.
And it makes you wonder too, like, the writers that do some of these movies. I've had some people, message whether it's on here or other shows or just people in general. How can you watch something like that? Like, are you sick and twisted? I'm like, whoa. First off, you don't know me. Second off, is it weird that I like watching stuff like this? But like writers also, like, some people are like, how can they think of this to write this down on paper and write a script about it? I'm like, maybe it's them expressing themselves on paper, so they don't go out and do this stuff in real life.
No, I'm a Freddy Krueger and Scream fan, but you're not going to see me put a fucking ghost face mask on and go start slaughtering people. I don't sit there whenever I'm watching the Scream movies and sit there and, you know, during each death scene, you know, grab myself and fucking sit there and pleasure myself. I don't fucking do that. You know, it's not that deep. It's just it's a fantasy. When you're watching a movie, you're basically living a fantasy world at that time. No matter what genre of movie you're watching, you're entering a fantasy world. No matter if it's realistic or not, you're still entering a different world, and you're going on an adventure in that world. And it's while you're in that world that the rules that they lay down, do those actually help the movie along, or do they hinder the movie? And in this case, they hindered the movie because there's a lot of things in this movie that me as a person would have never let get away with. I would have never let them had some just random guy watch my fucking daughter. I'd have been like, no, she's coming with us. I don't care what the fuck y'all say. You know, when they started doing that whole blowjob act, I'd have been like, what the fuck are y'all doing? When did this turn into some? Do you want to fuck my wife? Is that what's going on? I was all over while watching these scenes.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it does sound like some people out there in the email land know who you are, Juan. Like, you're a twisted individual, dude. You are. I know you are. No, exactly. Don't get me wrong. It's an expression of art. It's the same thing as like looking at paintings and pictures and listening to music. Just because I listen to a lot of gangster rap or a lot of like heavy metal doesn't mean I'm like worshiping deities or out, selling rocks with my crew that, all like not doing it, bro. Like just because I listen to trap music or just because I listen to people who sell stuff or used to sell stuff or used to shoot or used to bang everybody's mom on the block or something like that doesn't mean I'm doing it. I just find it funny or I find it a good story or something like that. If you find it a good story, it is what it is. I mean, they're wrong. There's so much more. Yes, this has a little bit of whatever to it, but there's so much worse out there. I'm sure at least two of us for sure have seen like Human Centipede or I Spit on Your Grave or something like that. You know what I mean? Like those are some movies from dark, dark, dark thoughts. Hostile, dark thoughts. There's a lot of different things out there that are way worse than this.
Barney.
Barney had a lot behind the scenes going on, bro. But
What'd you guys think of the trophy room scene where
staff all
the pretty much like trophy room. I mean, that's what it is. Pretty much all their all the evidence that can tie them up pretty much for life. Do you guys think that was a pretty weird scene? I thought it was a creepy scene.
I always find that. Go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, if you know anything about serial killers or their motives, is they always keep a trophy. They always keep something to remind them of what happened. And in their case, they like you said, they're kind of dirty hippies. They just kind of live off what they find, and that's what I think they're doing. Is that when they have all the luggage and all the stuff that people bring with them and everything, that's their prize, is that they get to keep after the fact.
Yeah,
I was about to point out the same thing too. Honestly,
whenever they're taking pictures, it's not. Oh, they took a picture with that camera. There's some weird detail about that camera, is because that camera was one of their victims' camera, and they're just using it because they killed him and stole it from them. There's those type of things. You can add those type of layers you could add to the movie. But,
well, I mean, you even got someone in real life like Dahmer who did what he did. As sick as that is, or Ed Gein who done a lot. That was incredibly out of this world kind of stuff, and not in a good way either.
If I could point out one thing about this movie, is I really did enjoy how so many horror movies today are just flirting with you with jump scares and blood, guts, and violence. This movie has blood, guts, some bloody scenes at the end, and yeah, it's got violence. But I like how this movie didn't have to sell you on jump scares, witches, and paranormal stuff. To me, even though this is a remake, I thought at least the first time around, I thought it was kind of a breath of fresh air compared to some of the other horror movies out there. Where do you guys think this lines up with some of the horror movies from today's atmosphere?
I don't really consider it a horror movie in a weird way. I consider it more of a thriller once you get into it.
It would depend. I mean, it's not necessarily. It's not a Nosferatu, but it's not.
Oh no, but it's more of a psychological thriller or psychological horror.
Yeah,
agreed.
I get that. Because a lot of it, there's the violence that kick in. There's really not much violence in it at all. If you want to be technical, there's only the whenever he's chasing down at the end and everything like that, and then when the kid bashes homeboy's brains in. That was a pretty cool scene. I thought that ending was kind of stupid to have the little boy do it. I don't know why. It just felt stupid. But
I can understand it.
It felt off, but I kind of also understood it on the level that, the kid did see his parents be murdered and butchered, and he's been
he's been tortured. He's been
tortured the entire time, and so now he's getting his revenge. It's just
because he got his tongue cut out. He can't speak to nobody. He's been left to get abused hard by that family. No one saved him. No one came for him. No one, until these people. And then he was like, maybe these people, can drag me out of here.
And essentially, you never know, like, if something like that happens to somebody, I know you can survive and get back into the real world, but essentially, their life is maybe taken forever with not being able to speak and all the dramatic stuff they probably went through. But, yeah, maybe he hit him a little too much, too many times with the rock.
It felt like whenever Corey Feldman was killing Jason in number 4, it just felt like it went on for a little bit too long. I'm like, okay, I guess this is how we're going to end it. And even whenever, I guess it was to show that the kid out of all people had enough of their bullshit, that even whenever things were going down and they were being hunted down to be killed, they were still kind of pushovers. They were still kind of weak, because they didn't want to kill none of them. They didn't want. I'm like, fuck that. I'd have been blasted. I'd have just been fucking like, wow, fuck y'all.
Because I mean, in this, essentially, you've got fight or flight, and when flight should have been there, they chose to ignore it all the way. So you pushed yourself into fight, literally. And I mean, I get trying to have faith in humanity and all that crap. I get it. But at the same time, like you've said several times in this episode, if you show me enough red flags, I'm gone. Like, I'm not waiting around just because I think you could potentially be a good person. I'm done.
So the scene where they've made it out, right? And the scene that they're driving their little Tesla and the daughter sees Patty push Aunt back into the pond.
Yeah.
That right there, would you guys have left to try to go get help, or would you have done what Ben did?
It's a hard scenario, man.
You have your family, your daughter, your wife in the car. All you got to do is maybe get the safety. You have the evidence maybe to put them behind bars forever, but you're like, man, I can't just let that little dude die.
That's probably why it was done that way. It's one of those moral decisions.
Yep. And he knew that they would do it.
That's one of the only time he acts. He reacts in probably a positive and forceful manner. Is that every decision leading up to that point has been a weak answer, or just shoving it off to the side. This was one of those decisions that he made on his own, just like split seconds. Like, I have to make sure this kid survives. So I guess it shows that he's starting to finally see things.
Yeah.
But it was too late.
Yep.
Man. Yeah. No, but I like, again, I gotta throw some light out there for this, because it's just different. I don't know. Nothing paranormal coming after you. Nothing. No, the movie's not solely based on jump scares or anything like that. So
I don't
this
think
is
it has
based
any of it.
on a lot of psychological as well as moral.
yeah.
Best questions more than anything.
So we talked about some different scenes out there. There's so many different scenes we didn't get to touch on, but for this movie being an hour and 50 minutes, let's talk about pacing before we get the favorite scenes. Did it feel like an hour and 50 minutes, or what do you guys think? To me, I feel like there are so many scenes that, to me, it kind of just flew by.
I was, like I said, once the red flags started kicking off and they didn't go anywhere, and there just kept being more red flags that would have sent me home, that would have sent me packing. Especially after finding out my kid was in bed. Like, my kid was in bed with you guys. Like, what the fuck is that all about? And the dad just completely just like, oh, it must have been something. It's like, no. And the wife played it correctly. It was like, no, you don't. No, what the? And then when they gave the explanation, it was like, I don't care. You wake me up. You don't fucking take my kid. You put him in bed with you. No.
Like, I get the whole thing of, miscarriage and stuff like that. I get that. But at the same time, this is a not your child. This is not your family. Like, what is wrong with? Yeah, no. But there at that time was another red flag because it should have let them know that. How do they not understand that being a parent?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because no.
Like the woman correcting, I get it was to show that she's just as abrasive and kind of crazy as McAvoy is that whenever she started correcting the daughter, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, I would have been in the same situation. Would be like, what the fuck are you telling my kids? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. This movie is so like just it's honestly just very detailed. If I had to pick out a favorite scene, it would be probably mostly led by McAvoy, but like man, his detail of acting and this film's detail of just correction or everything in between is pretty good. If I had to pick a favorite scene right off the bat, and I would probably pick the scene where I just had it. I'm going blank. Um, he where they're hunting, and he's trying to get Ben to shoot, and Ben's like, "Man, I just can't do it." And you know, Patty is like, "It's not the kill that interests me; it's the hunt." And that right there, I'm like, man, he's so detailed about what he wants in real life right then and there. That again, it's not the kill or the abduction probably of the kids. It's the getting to that situation, the lies, the manipulation. So very detail oriented scene. Um, I'm not saying McAvoy deserves a freaking Oscar, but I really do like every scene he's put in this situation. So
He
The
did
it's a,
acting
very,
over,
very well, though.
the
yeah,
acting overall is good in the movie. I'll give it that. It's good to great in certain areas, but the story itself and just the premise of certain things happen, the way things go down, I couldn't sit there and wrap my head around it because, like I said, I'm not a very trusting person.
yeah.
So I just couldn't get over all the red flags that were
This,
propping up big. Like like I could see if you known a guy for like 6 to 8 months, and you got a few of these red flags, but these were all in one fucking like day within a few hours. So I've been like, something's not right about this dude.
Don't get me wrong. Even then, though, like,
but you know what? Stuff
nah.
like this happens though. This is how kids like get abducted, sexually abused, like scams. Like this is a
Groomed.
this is a scam 101, and that's the crazy thing. And if you notice, I don't know if I mean again I can't judge, but is it people that have money like that they're just so pushy or push they can be a pushover because of maybe how much money they have. They're like, "Oh, I'm set. I know how to take care of myself. I have this money I can just fall back on." But like this stuff happens all the time.
I think it's more the fact of being not being in any situation that has had that happen, being in situations that you don't have to have your guard up, that you can let your guard down, let your hair down, and not really be afraid of any surroundings. Not
Yeah,
necessarily saying that I've had a hardcore life, but at the same time, like,
right.
both of you know the streets we've all three walked. Like,
But it's just
we've
again,
been a few places.
it's just like just detail oriented with this movie is just like we can't pick a vulnerable poor couple because then they can't get robbed. So let's pick a vulnerable super wealthy couple because again they're vulnerable but they got the money. So I think that's probably what kind of turned this movie off on me the second time around. Agreeing with you guys with how vulnerable they can be.
You just got and that's the thing about it is that if you're going to do things like this, and this is probably where my moral code comes in, I just don't sit there and have the patience or even the know-how to pull off a scheme like this
No,
and to make it believable because there's a lot of factors in it, to play it. I just don't know.
that's true. No.
Disbelief.
Um, but again, favorite scene would probably have anything to do with James McAvoy. He made the unbelievable believable for me in this movie.
Fighting dude look like a lady.
So,
Yeah.
Ed, what about you? Do you have a favorite scene?
Um, I would probably say I'd probably say whenever the kids are interacting with each other, like especially gone down, found evidence and stuff like that, like that was kind of a holy shit. Okay, this is a different layer. Okay, I found that interesting. So you know,
Jay?
I didn't really have a favorite scene, but there was a couple moments in the movie where I was like, that's cool. Well, with the scene where they're talking about they're when the true problems start to come out, which whenever they sit down and talk to each other, the husband and wife in the bedroom, and they start talking about what the fuck's been actually going on, and they kind of puts more of a light on their marriage that they're trying to repair shit. So that's why they're probably going along with certain things as well. Is that it's like being in a relationship and you're trying to repair it that neither person wants to sit there and be the one to say no. And you just kind of like go on with life. You're just like, they're okay with it. I'm okay with it. So if they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. So that's where. But that's the one scene I did like was the scene where they're in the bedroom talking and the truth all comes out.
Star rating for Speak No Evil. I'll go first. When I walked out of the theater, I gave this movie a 4. I was really enthused by it. Loved it. The twist had me. Rewatching it, there wasn't that it factor anymore. Knowing the plot twist and knowing the ending and the scene and stuff like that. So my star rating is always big as far as like rewatchability goes. If it doesn't have good rewatchability, the star rating is not going to be very high. Still decent for me though. James McAvoy saves it. I love his skills in this movie, so it saves it for me. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Um, it's on Peacock, so go check it out. Still, his skills is what makes this movie pretty watchable again the second time around. So, Jay, what about you?
I'll go at 3 as well. Like I said, I had a lot of red flags that went off that would have turned me away instantly as a person. So I had to suspend my disbelief a lot more than some of you might have.
Ed?
I'd say 2.5. It was good, but it just wasn't something that I'm going to be highly interested in to watch anymore. James McAvoy did great. David Hugh, however you pronounce it, or Dan Hugh, however you pronounce his last name, did good, but I don't know, man. It's just not mine.
This Thursday, join us over on Friday the 14th podcast. This Thursday, as we review The Mean One, see what happens when the Grinch comes for more than just your Christmas tree. So check that review out. It'll be this Thursday, January 23rd, over on Friday the 14th podcast. We review The Mean One. Next Monday, we review Heretic, the latest A24 psychological thriller, horror movie, whichever one you want to put that category in. That is what we are talking about next Monday as we end January with an A24 movie and we end with Heretic. February is pretty big, guys. I don't know if you guys are ready for February. Are you guys ready for February?
Oh yeah.
February is going to be jam-packed. So mark your calendars. The first week of February, we talk about Ghost of Girlfriends Past. The second week of February, we talk about Wicked. The third week of February, we talk about the best and our top 5 plus 5 of 2024. And then we end the month of February with Captain America Brave New World. So I can't wait for February. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation all about Speak No Evil. But before we get out of here, guys, anything you guys want to talk about before we head on to Heretic?
Nope.
No,
Have a good
all
week,
good to
everybody.
go.
All right, man. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Monday on a brand new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.